Hey everyone, it's Love Tour Shit. You already know. I'm here with Nikki and she's phenomenal. Let me tell you. She's sitting here just telling me her life, and overall it's just amazing to see someone with such wisdom, you know, and she still looks so young, but she has a story on her and energy on her as well. So what we really want to talk about is just transitioning out of what's accustomed or what we've been growing through. That's one thing that's really been a highlight with our conversation so far. So first off, before we get into that, I want to explain how you did that. Like, what do you do now?
So what I do now is I help people to release limiting beliefs. I help people expand their consciousness. I do that through I help them with different meditation tools. I use different spiritual amulets or talismans, jewelry. I do herbal blends, spiritual baths, intuitive readings, intuitive guidance. So just whatever the person needs, you know, if I have the capacity to serve, that's what I do.
And that's healing on a spiritual level. She also makes jewelry, and she's an entrepreneur, like, on all levels. If I were to get, like, just
this is
room,
my office, my little area.
It is lit, y'all. This is doing no justice, but I just want you to know that she's out here, okay? Anything that you want to express as far as, like, transitioning out of, like, when you first started, did you know you would be here? Like, did you have a goal that you would...
I didn't know I would be here. When I first started doing jewelry, or when I started transitioning, like, spiritually.
I feel like jewelry is just a physical way to express yourself and also to make money, and that's just a way to go along. Like with me, I write books or whatever, but my book is just a catalyst to bring me around. But there's so many more aspects to me that I used to heal. But I'm saying, like, maybe, did you know you always had that craft for jewelry?
I was always very crafty.
Okay.
Always cutting something up, taking something apart, putting it back together.
Okay.
Sewing. I love intricate detail. So that aspect of me has always been with me. But the spiritual, like, even when I was doing jewelry before, I didn't have the passion that I have now, because now my jewelry and my work has taken on a different, a more meaningful tone. Helping people with different issues. So it's not just jewelry.
It's not. And even her jewelry is like just an accessory to her form of healing. Like, it's more than just how it looks physically, but her magic that she does with her jewelry is bound to work because it's hers. Like, explain, like, how you charge your jewelry.
So, for instance, this piece here, this is a 14 karat gold piece with moonstone and labradorite. So the client came and she wanted something elegant. She wanted something with kind of a boho style, but she also wanted to utilize particular properties of stones to help her with something that she's wanting to manifest.
Okay.
So I got the moonstones, I got the labradorite, because those were the properties that matched what she wanted. And so I created the piece, but then also I'm wearing the piece for her. So I'm wearing it for a few days, and as these days go by, I'm listening to particular songs or particular music that puts me in the mindset of what she's wanting to manifest.
Wow.
So I'm channeling that energy into this piece as I'm wearing it. And so this is not her first piece that she's bought from me, but whenever she gets her pieces, she can feel the energy that I put into the pieces. So I believe that stones and crystals are kind of like little computer systems. You know, you can charge them to hold a particular intention. And because of their molecular structure, you know, they can hold that intention. Most of our computers and phones have crystals in them. So,
wow. Yeah. When I look at her, like, honestly, I'm never like this, but I'm just so amazed by you because your energy is...
You're so awesome!
No, literally, like, I want you to... I feel like people usually give me that energy, but I'm in a place where it's like, wow. Like, she heals on all aspects. She's used she's being used as a vessel to truly heal on all aspects. Like, even through verbalizing in itself, it's like, wow, to know this person exists is amazing. I'm so honored that she's here with me.
Oh, it's an honor to be here.
Thank you. But I just think that's amazing as well, because it's when you do things like that, you know it's not about the money. You know that she has to be a balanced individual. So how do you go about that?
So balancing, especially if you are in service, because that's what this is service. So I do make money for my work, but in the essence of what I do is a service. I'm compensated.
Yeah.
But when you are in the service work, when you are in when you're serving in any capacity others, it's important to give from the overflow, not the reservoir. So one of the things that I am very, very adamant about my boundaries. And that means I have to set boundaries. I have to set boundaries, not just for others, but more specifically for myself. So there's certain things that I know I'm not able to come up here and work on a piece if I'm not feeling emotionally, stable. If I'm feeling somewhat chaotic, I can't come in here and work on a piece that, the person is wanting to have calm. So now you might say, well, how do you get anything done if you're having a bad week or a bad month? Well, it will behoove me not to be having a bad week or a bad month. And that's not to say that doesn't happen, but some of the things that I do is I meditate. I take spiritual baths.
Yeah.
I take barefoot walks. And I forgive folk. Wow. I release people. I release people that have offended me. I release people that I, may have aught against me, or I may have aught against them. And it's a daily thing. It's something that you don't want to let bitterness and unforgiveness reside in you too long.
Wow. So how long did it take you for you to get to this place? Because that is truly wisdom.
I'm 44 years old. I'm 44 years old. So I feel like I had a lot of opportunities to be upset at people. I had a lot of opportunities to be vengeful. And there were a lot of times when I was, holding on to bitterness and unforgiveness, but it was making my body sick. It was making me emotionally ill. It was bad, but I got rid of a lot of that, and that just came from just a decision. I realized that a lot of what I was experiencing was my own fault, or my own reflection.
Truly.
And so taking radical personal responsibility said that I had to own some of that. And when I started to own those things, I was now able to change them. And so being able to change things that you've dealt with for decades is life-changing.
Do you think traveling influenced that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay.
Yeah, traveling influenced that. Just being able to meet people outside of your immediate sphere. Being able to just connect with people who don't even look like you or talk like you.
Love Tori shit. I love it. No, but truly, she's traveled a lot, and that's why I mentioned that. And it's so funny when you traveled. I like to ask this to people, because I don't feel like you would change per se, but I feel like every time I've been in a different environment, it's brought out a different version of me. Do you feel like that's the case for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Because you meet. I tend to meet the same type of person, even if they don't look the same, but it's the same type of person. True. So I tend to draw quirky people, people who are not quite the norm, but I'm not quite the norm,
Truly.
So
wow. I'm sorry, that just threw me off. Be on the lookout for reasons to feel good. So it's really just about the mind aspect, and I feel like she's really good. Her being an Aquarius, she's really good with just balancing out the mind, and I think that helps with just balancing out your emotions as well. But overall, like, not having to go too much into detail, but where you came from, like, it's just amazing to see where you're at now. You know what I'm saying? So I just really want to like kind of highlight like the process of transitioning, like, because of course you could travel, of course you could do all these concepts, but it had to have been acceptance that you done internally before that even played out in reality. What caused that?
I got really, so in 2012 I found myself in a situation. I was very overweight. I was like 200 and something pounds, like 215-ish pounds. Oh. I was on a bunch of medication, all kinds of stuff to, you know, help me go to sleep, help me wake up, help with depression, all these things. My body was hurting. I felt like I was trapped inside of my body. Wow. And that was only, you know, I found myself physically in that state because my mind, that's what my mind looked like for so many years. And so my mind really just manifested in my body. And so my body was, what I realized is my body was a reflection of what was going on in my mind and in my emotions. So I really sat myself down and started to unpack some things, you know, unpack some things from my childhood and my young adulthood, and really sit myself down. I did a lot of meditation, a lot of journaling, what I like to call dream work. And basically that's when you use particular herbs that help you to dream, and you go into your dreams and you analyze your dreams and you allow your subconscious mind to speak to you. So I started to do like inner child work and those different things, and I was on a journey, on a quest to heal myself, because I knew there was more.
So it's cause, and you was in a place where it's like you was done with that life that you had.
I was tapped out. It was nothing. I had gotten, and you know, this is not to say anything negative against anybody. I used religion to try to help myself, but I felt like I had gotten to the, I had expanded all I could expand as far as Christianity.
Because religion, I definitely think that it has a lot of, and it's funny because I did a video and he was very religious, and I was like, I'm not taking away from the importance behind religious or even the Bible. Like I read the Proverbs chapters from the Bible, and it helps me. Yeah. But it is a form of structure, you know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of people, I feel, go towards it, because it gives them a structure to help them stay on. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes with us being who we are, just being individuals, it's kind of hard to compare ourselves to something so far back and something that's not even, nobody knows our life, you know? So it's like, it's a balance of taking, because it's nothing new under the sun, true, but it's a balance of taking what's around you and also growing from with learning yourself and using those both and finding balance, what I believe, you know?
I agree. I agree.
So, wow. Okay, so with you living your life, you seem so content with yourself, but overall, how do you feel, how do you balance people not accepting or not understanding you?
So one of the things, I've kind of always gone against the grain.
Okay. Me too.
So that's not really new. I was getting tattoos before tattoos were a thing. Like especially black people back in the day were not getting tattoos like that, you know. So I've kind of, in piercings, I have, you know, all my piercings. I don't wear them as often anymore, but those type of things I was always used to that type of thing. But what I had to realize is a lot of that was my way of rebelling. So I had to ask myself, okay, well, what are you rebelling against exactly, Nikki? Like, who are you rebelling against? And I was really rebelling against, I thought I was rebelling against society, but really I had to realize, you know, I wasn't really accepting myself, you know, the real me. I didn't really know who the real me was. And so when I started, you know, with my healing journey and unpacking who the real me was, I got to discover this really dope person, you know, and it was like, it was literally like getting to know a dope friend, like a real cool friend. I was like, all right, you know. So now that I've gotten to know myself, I'm more confident in myself. I'm more secure in my own frequency, what frequency I'm offering.
That's beautiful. And that's one thing that I've noticed is like the main catalyst behind being like a boss ass anybody, chick or male, like is really understanding who you are as a person. Once you already unlock that and have, even if you're still developing, because like with me, I'm sure there's so many other levels of me that I still haven't tapped into. Yeah. But once I accept the fact that I'm dope, like literally is that's anywhere you want to go, you can go, you know, and you don't even need to know where you're going. It's just going to be a beautiful experience from there. And I feel like what you said, the Most High would support anyone that's bold enough to actually take those steps out.
Yeah.
So, wow, life is a great adventure.
It is. Always looking for reasons to you know, expand.
Yeah.
And looking for those synchronicities, because the universe is always speaking to us. That's the other thing I learned. And spirit is always speaking to us, you know. And so we are sometimes out of alignment and not able to hear. And so I've just gotten myself more to a place where I want to be in alignment. I know ways to get myself in alignment. I know when I'm not in alignment. So,
how do you know when you're not in alignment?
Oh, well, for instance, this doesn't happen all the time. I'm just going to use this example because it was so blatant and so obvious. Mm-hmm. So a couple weeks ago, actually about a month ago, so I also do deliveries for this florist, right? Part-time. Mm-hmm. So I do this driving job where I deliver flowers to everybody. It's the best job in the world, actually. 'Cause people are always so happy to see me. So, but I'm speeding to work one day because I was running late. So I'm speeding to work, and this cop, I was supposed to be doing like 35. I'm doing like 55. This cop steps out into the street. Mm-hmm. Walks out to the street in front of my car, and I swerve to try not to hit the cop. He has a speed trap set, you know, he's pulling people over. Mm-hmm. So I get a ticket, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is I pulled out shortly, like 2 or 3 hours after that happened, I pulled out into traffic and I hit the car in front of me.
Wow.
Ran into the car in front of me. And when I hit the car, the sound, it was so loud in my brain. I knew right then that it's like it was a sign from the universe, like it to get my attention. Pay attention, yeah.
And sometimes it comes in unfortunate ways like that, because if now you ain't going to pay attention, like I'm sure it was other signs letting you know.
Yeah, I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
I was out of alignment.
I see.
So, yeah.
That lets you really know how much of a matrix this is.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Is there any advice that you would give to anyone? Because I know you mentioned that we're both, I feel like a lot of people are in this new phase of life.
It's so cool.
It is beautiful. You have to really rely on faith right now, but it is a beautiful experience once you are aligned. Yeah. You know, because it flows so beautifully. Any advice that you would offer though?
Oh man. Trust yourself. Don't be afraid to don't be afraid to listen to yourself. Our society and our culture has set us up in a way where we are not very comfortable listening to our own intuition, or our own inner voice, our own inner guidance system. We're not very familiar with that voice. And so settle yourself down, quiet your mind, and get to know your own inner voice. However you do that, if it's through meditation, you know, meditation looks different for different people. True. But if it's through meditation, or, you know, just listening to music. I love listening to music without words, because it helps my mind I can have my own thoughts in my head, you know, without somebody else's
But it
words.
still keeps you focused in a different way. I noticed that as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just don't be afraid to trust yourself. Don't be afraid to listen to your own intuition. And be brave. Be brave and don't be afraid to be a trailblazer. Don't be afraid to go outside of the box of what your family or society has dictated for you. You know, don't be afraid to break those glass ceilings.
Heck yeah. Because sometimes that fear is really not even what the reality of it is. So literally, I can't even word nothing better than that. That's like perfect. I'm so grateful. So yeah, y'all about to see her a lot more often. She's about to push herself out on so many aspects, and I'm just so happy for her. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Love Tori shit.